Hey, Oswald, Mr. Shatter back at you to solve quadratics again. So a reminder from the last video is that a quadratic equation in standard form is solved when the y value or function value is set equal to 0. So whenever you see a quadratic equation of any form, so it looks like anything, as long as it has that x to the second power, in order to solve it, you set the y value equal to 0. All right? Once you set the y value equal to 0, the first method to see if you could solve the quadratic is to see if it's factorable. So this particular quadratic I gave you is factorable to x plus 5 times x plus 1. The question is, once you factor your quadratic and it's still set equal to 0, how do you solve for x? Well, that's when the zero product property, is going to help us out. So the zero product property, or the ZPP as the cool kids call it, is basically if the product of two quantities is 0, at least one of the quantities must equal 0. What that says is if you multiply two numbers, so a times b, we don't know what they are, but if we know that it equals 0, then one of them or the other one or both of them had to have been 0, because you can't multiply like 3 times 5 and get 0, right? One of them has to be 0 or both of them has to be 0. This is going to help us solve a quadratic that looks like this. So if we take our quadratic that we just factored and we apply the ZPP, what that means to do is to basically set each of the factors equal to 0. So you set each one equal to 0 and you solve for x. So in this one, you just have to minus 5 both sides. And you get that x equals negative 5. And the second one would be if you just minus 1 both sides, and you get that x equals negative 1. So the ZPP is a way to take two factors that are set equal to 0 and solve for what x would be, which correspond to the solutions of the quadratic.